I know that there's a door here. I can't see it yet. It's not visible from where I'm standing. But I know it's there. And I know that when it appears, I have the right key to open it. Not because I have everything figured out, but because something in me already recognizes the direction.
I'm Hanna Zaxmy, your leadership coach, and this podcast is your confidence boost in color. Let's go.
At the beginning of last year, I was out for a walk. It was snowing, gently at first, but the further I walked, the heavier it became. And the wind picked up. Eventually, I could barely see what was in front of me. Along the roadside, there were these orange markers, simple plastic poles showing where the road goes during the winter. Normally, you can see several ahead, but in that moment, I could barely see the next one. And still, I kept walking, because inside, I had a good sense of the direction. I didn't have the full picture, but I knew enough to take the next step. After a while, I reached a more sheltered part of the road. Trees and bushes softened the wind, and suddenly I could see further ahead again, several markers at once. That moment became a reflection for me, because this is how clarity often works. We tend to think clarity means having the full plan, seeing the entire path laid out in front of us. But in reality, clarity is often more simpler than that. It's not always about seeing everything. It's about knowing enough to begin. That inner sense of direction, that's clarity. Not perfect visibility, but a grounded understanding of where you want to move. And sometimes life changes the conditions. The wind picks up, visibility drops, and the clarity you now will need to rely on is no longer external, it becomes internal. When I look back now, I can honestly say that this past year has looked a lot like that walk. There has been long stretches where I couldn't fully see the path ahead, where I didn't yet understand how things would unfold. But because of the direction was clear within me, I have kept moving, step by step, and along the way, I have learned. I have become better at recognizing what matters, which signals that are mine to follow and which ones to let go of. Clarity didn't come first. It deepened through the movement. So let me ask you something. Where in your life right now are you waiting to see the full path before you take the next step? And has that perhaps kept you standing still? And what do you already know if you're completely honest with yourself? Because that's where the truth comes in. It's there, in that quiet knowing, in the direction you keep returning to, in that part of you that gently says, this way, even when everything around you feels unclear. In this podcast, I talk a lot about the confident framework, where each letter in confident holds apart what it means to lead both yourself and others with confidence. We begin with clarity, the C, not as a perfect plan, but as a sense of vision and direction. Then as we move forward in the framework, we are reminded of N for next step. That progress doesn't come from having it all figured out, but from continuing to move. And finally, at the end, T for truth, because there are many possible paths to take, but the one you choose to walk needs to be aligned with what truly matters to you, your values, your direction, your way of leading. This is now episode 52 of this podcast, which means that I'm really close to a 1 year celebration milestone. And right now, It feels like I have been stepped into a more sheltered space again on my road. A place where I can pause a bit and look back. The road hasn't been straight. It's been winding. But the direction, that has been quite steady. And when I turn around, what I thought were just markers along the way, I realized that is doors. Doors I couldn't see before because I wasn't close enough yet. And now there's one door in front of me. And I know I have the key. But here's the thing, the door doesn't open of its own. That's where next step comes in. Not a perfect plan, not complete certainty, just one intentional action. Reaching out, turning the key, and stepping through. So as you move forward from here, I want to leave you with this. What direction is already clear within you, even if the path isn't? What truth are you quietly aware of, but perhaps not fully acting on yet? And what is one small next step that you can take from here? Not to figure everything out, but to move. Because leadership, authentic at its core, isn't built on perfect visibility. It's built on clarity within, truth you trust, and the courage to take the next step. And what lies behind that door, it's both a mystery and at the same time, something you already have a sense of, something you are moving towards. Right in front of my computer, I have placed a verse to remind me of this every day. In their hearts, humans plans their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. It's from the Bible, the Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. And for me, that brings both comfort and energy. Comfort that I'm not alone. So to take one more step forward, and just as I said at the beginning, I know there is a door here. Not fully visible yet, but I also know that I already hold the key. So stay with me. In future episodes, I'll take you with me and share what unfolds on the other side of that door. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss the next step in this journey. And if you know someone who might need this reminder today, share the episode with them. Because one small step is all it takes to begin. Until next time, be confident, be you.